What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Deck Smiths. I'm here at Truly Urban, where everybody over here, other than Yuki and Dragon Ball, I'm here with my friend Apu. He has a very interesting deck. So, Boo, man, take it away.
All right. So for the deck, the leader we're running the starter deck Goku. Reason why is because the way that the deck functions, there's a lot of high mana cost cards. We do need the mana regen so we can start playing combos, this and that. For those of you who do not know, the starter deck Goku, his regular effect states that when you declare attack with him, the auto is you recover one of your blue energy, just the one. On the awakened side, when you declare an attack, first ability is if you have 5 or more of your blue energy, he gains +5 on your turn only. But the main effect is what we care about, which is when he declares an attack, you recover 2 mana and draw the 1. 2 blue, by the way. So just to keep that in mind, why, as we focus on what the deck consists of. Now, the way that the deck is just a lot of low mana cost stuff. So you have the Bulma, one for the mana ramping, which actually helps out the leader for the first effect. So with Bulma, you can search out any Whis. We also run Majin Buu for draw power, and we run Gowasu, who runs excavating. So essentially what Gowasu does is that when you summon him, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, select any god character type, or special trait, as what they call it in this game, and add that to your hand, and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. This is going to actually help out for the rest of the deck, being the way it's designed. So this is just for early game power. You would like to see either Bulma or Gowasu in your opening hand. You would like to see one of the 2. For mid game, we have this one here. He's relatively new. The Commander's Combined Vegeta. He's a 3-drop for 20k, super strong for a really for an early game to mid game card. But the other thing is that his main effect states that if all of your mana is blue, he becomes a 2-drop while in your hand or on the field.
Savage.
Super savage. He becomes a late game swinger for the super early game. So he is essentially our early game and our mid game. Just heavily focused on him. If they do not remove him from the board, you're winning the fight. And then because of his late game power, if he survives for the late game, he's still a late game beater. He's still 20k no matter what. Now, what's gonna go for our late game? We're focusing on, of course, the energy ramping Whis, which actually goes back from the Bulma. If you see Bulma in your opening hand, you're guaranteed to have the Whis for your turn 4 play. Now, with that, Whis puts your energy up by 1. So we're always running 4 of him. So we do want the mana ramping for the higher drops. And on top of that, we have the mana regeneration from our leader. So this allows us to play a lot more on our turn. Now we have this Beerus here. Now this Beerus, some people are a little bit confused. He's a 4-drop, yes, but his effect only works when you have 5 or more energy. The effect of him is that once you have 5 energy, when you summon Beerus, you can automatically remove 1 monster from your opponent's board. So he's great for board removal, and on top of that, he has double strike. So this is definitely a mid-game to a late-game card. Puts a lot of pressure on the board because he can not only clear the board, but he also swings for double strike with a 20 attack power. We're running 4 of him. Now, this is a little questionable for some people. They see this, they don't know why. Some people do know him, some people don't. This is Golden Frieza. He is a blue card. He's not a yellow. Now, this Golden Frieza, he's 25. Double strike. Still really good. Mid-game, late-game card, very strong. But what makes him unique is that upon summoning him, you can actually choose one of your battle cards. You can actually choose himself if you wanted to. You don't want to. You spent all that mana summoning him, but you can choose one of your battle cards, return it to your hand, and by doing so, you take one of your opponent's battle cards, put it to the bottom of their deck. So he's another form of board clear. He's a little stronger than Beerus. The reason why we're playing him at 2 and Beerus at 4 is because Beerus is, yes, he's one mana cost less. But for Golden Frieza, he is a 5 cost, but you have to remove 1 monster from your board. So we're playing 2 of him, but 4 of him. The other reason why we're playing 4 of the Beerus is because we have the Gowasu. Gowasu, if you remember before, like I said, he can search out a god. How many gods do we have currently? Gowasu counting as 1. Beerus counts as the second god, and we have Whis, that's another god. So which is what I was saying, if you see Bulma or Gowasu opening turn, that's beautiful. It'll set up for your mid-game play. You can either search out the Beerus, you can search out the Whis from Gowasu. If you have the Bulma, you'll automatically get the Whis. Now, for our end game, our boss monster for our deck,
The biggest troll ever.
biggest
People
troll
are
in
gonna
the
ask
entire
why.
freaking game. Zen Oh the plain god. What people do not know is that this man is a complete savage. When you summon Zen Oh he removes all effects from all battle cards on the field. Upon summon, removes all effects, and then both players takes all their battle cards, except for Zeno, adds them to their hand, shuffles the hand into the deck, and then both players draw 5. Now, if there are battle cards that were Union Absorbed, Union Fusion, Patord, whatever, if they have cards underneath them as a stack, those stacked cards goes back to the graveyard. Only the top monster, which is the one being active on the field, is the one that goes back. Zeno completely resets the game. For when it comes to board power and hand power, he resets it all. Now, he doesn't reset energy. Just, keep that in mind.
Way too broken if it
He'd be
did.
too broken. Now, the thing is, he is 7. He's a 7-drop. He's extremely high. But besides that, he is a god. So, you can search him out with Gowasu. You can search him and add him. And besides that, because he's a 7-drop, we do have the Whis for the mana ramping, so we can play him a little faster. And our leader gives us the energy regeneration. So let's say you go all out, you played all 7 to try to summon him as quickly as possible. Well, you don't have to worry because the Goku leader that we have regenerates 2 energy back. It's not a lot, but it's enough just to survive for the opponent's turn. Because after summoning him, you reset their hand. They have to start as if it was a turn 1 play. So having 2 energy on a turn 1 play is essentially what you're starting off with anyways. Now, this is what the main deck is when it comes to battle cards, things like that. Now we're going to go, this is the offensive side. Board setup, offense. Now we're going to go to the defense side. On the defensive side, of course, you have, for blue, you run the Whis' Coercion, negates an attack, and recovers your energy. This is, of course, a standard no matter what. You always run your negate. And then for blue, we have the Sensu Beans. If people aren't familiar with Sensu Bean, you activate it during the battle. It gives your battle card or your leader card, whichever you choose to use it on, it gives your card 5,000 power till the end of the turn. And then you recover 2 energy of your choice. So you can use this offensively, you can use this defensively. In this type of deck, it's mainly used for the mana regen on an offensive play, but it's used for the power gain for a defensive play. Then we have Results of Training. Now, Results of Training isn't really a card you would want to max out on, even though the effect is really nice. Results of Training states that if your leader has 5 or more, if you as the player have 5 or more life, you can then awaken your leader, complete the awakening ability, and then recover 4 energy. So yeah, it's a 5-card cost. It's a 5-cost card. The hell am I talking about? It's a 5-cost card. You recover the 4, so essentially it becomes a 1-cost card that allows you to awaken. The problem is, because it's a 5-cost card, you're only playing this during the mid-game or the late game because of how high the mana cost is. But by the time you would get to it, you're pretty much already awakened. So you'd relatively run it on a low mana a low card count for its high mana cost. But given that we do have excavating cards, we have draw power, we do have a little bit of deck thinning. So there are times when you will see it, when you already have 5 more life, and it's beautiful. You play it, you awaken, you draw the 2, recover the 4, it becomes a 1-cost awaken. It's beautiful, it's crazy. The problem is just seeing it.
Yep.
So hence we just run the 2, just in case we see it. If not, it becomes a card we can just throw into our energy. Because like I said, most of the time, by the time you get to it, you're already awakened. That's just in case. So these are the basic extra cards. Now, for these here, these are for the hand traps that are for defensive plays. So you have your combo card. For blue, it's Piccolo, of course.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory. You'd be a fool not to run it.
It's your combo card. You gain 10k, draw a card. What some people fail to realize is Piccolo is also a god. Yeah, he's a Namekian and a god, meaning he's another target for Gowasu. So yeah, you have a searcher for your combo card, which is also a staple in the deck. So these two are staples no matter what deck you're playing. Your negate attacker and your combo card. Though the main combo card at least. Now the other two, this is also part of the trolling. The main key guy, a lot of people use this actually. Should have put it this way around, sorry about that.
That's cool, no worries.
This is the main one that a lot of people do use, Jocko. His effect states that when you use him for comboing, you take one of your opponent's combo cards in the middle of the battle and return it back to their hand. So some people love to do this. On the defensive play, the opponent swings, drops a giant 10k combo. And you're like, crap, I don't have enough power to overplay this. Oh wait, I have Jocko. You'll combo with Jocko, you'll get the 5k for the combo, and then you return the 10k back to their hand in the middle of that fight.
Sad faces to sell players with TN.
Basically, especially for anyone with a green leader, you know for a fact they're playing TN. The problem is TN is a 2 mana cost for how good he is. But then when they see a Jocko get played, that's when they cry. You wasted 2 mana for absolutely nothing. A lot of people do play this for that reason, essentially. But what they don't play is this little bastard. Emperor Pilaf. Now, in this deck, it's especially unique. Pilaf's effect is he's a counter battle card, meaning that when a battle card on your opponent's board declares an attack, upon declaration of attack, you can play him as a regular monster for the counter. So you would have to choose between either negating the attack or playing Pilaf, unfortunately. But Pilaf's effect states that upon doing so, you take one of their main effects and remove it for the whole turn. So let's say you have 3 life left. Your opponent summons a monster. It's a triple strike. If the attack goes through, you lose the game. Well, the moment they declare that attack, you can summon Pilaf as a counter and remove the triple strike from the card. And now since you remove the triple strike, you don't even care if the attack goes through. You'll just take the 1 damage and just look at them and laugh. Now the funny thing is, this is still a monster. You played it as a regular monster on the opponent's turn. You can still use him to combo for the secondary attack. Sure, it's a 1 mana cost. It's not a lot, but when it comes to those those very, very stressful times when you're low on life and you don't want that double or that triple to go through, he's your man.
Call 1-800-PILAF.
Right. So essentially the way the deck is, the early game, the mid game, when you look at it up front, not a lot of power, not a lot of strength, not too much aggression for the early game. It's just more or less just setup. By the mid game, you have a little bit of pressure with the Vegeta, a little bit of pressure with the Whis. But then by late game, you're going to see nothing but Beerus's. You have Golden Frieza just controlling the board. And you just have all these cards here just really just pissing them the fuck off. Then, when you really feel like there's absolutely nothing left, if you're in a tight spot or if your opponent is in a tight spot and you don't want them to do shit, you drop this douchebag. If anything else, you can just keep swinging with your leader. I mean, by the time everything is going on, you're gonna have this, the energy to give him his main effect. If you have 5 more energy, he's gonna gain 5k. Of course, before even doing any of this, you're gonna have the 5 energy. You're always gonna be swinging for 20 with your leader. So if anything, you can just use your leader to just push for the game. But besides that, it's all about Zeno.
That evil Zeno.
That evil Zeno. It's all about survival until you can summon the Zeno.
All right. Well, before we wrap this up, of course, I just want to ask one simple question. Of course, a lot of people are going to ask, why not objection in this deck? Or why haven't you considered objection?
I have considered objection. The problem is, one, space. So playing the objection is all about, do I have enough room to play this extra card? No, I literally mean extra card. So the way that the deck numbering is, the count of it is all about the consistency when it comes to battle. Unfortunately, there's too many decks and too many builds out there that's all about aggression or hyper aggression, either set up for early game aggression or clear board, clear hand, and set up for the mid game to late game pressure. With that being said, objection is just too slow. And besides that, playing the objection, there are the pros and cons to it. The pro is, yes, it's mono ramping. Early game, mono ramp to lead up to the mid game, lead up for the late game. That's beautiful. Problem is with that is that you still need to dump cards. Unfortunately, that's with the way that this deck is set up. What the idea and the focus is, you cannot dump your cards. There's just too many key cards that are for survival to set up for your play. For this particular build, you just can't run objection for the simple fact that you want to keep your cards, because most of your cards are nothing but defensive cards. If you don't have them to defend you, you're gonna lose.
That makes sense.
And it's all about the Zen Oh. So
Yep.
it's all about the Zen Oh.
All about that evil Zen Oh.
All about the evil Zen Oh. If you pull off Zen Oh, hey, who cares about mid game, late game? Who cares about the setup? I just said fuck you to the entire setup. There is no setup with this man.
Yeah.
There really isn't. I summon, everything gets reset.
Yep.
You can
Definitely.
you can play your objections. You can have your 10 mana on the field, but you have 5 cards in the hand.
Yep.
Play with that.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And like I said, he's the 7-drop. He's your late game. By the time you get to summoning him, they're not gonna have a lot left. Everything that they have to rely on to win the game is on the board. You get rid of it, they're pretty much losing the game.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for the deck profile. This is Migs of the Decksmith signing out. Peace!